All right, guys, welcome back on this lovely Thursday afternoon recording out here.
Real Lovely Fans Thursday.
Podcast. Episode 32. Been working on my Spanish a little bit. 32. Big 32 for y'all. We got Mr. Miami. Look at this guy over here on the left. Hey, back.
Listen.
Is that two jerseys underneath? You wearing two jerseys?
Hold on.
Look. This might be the last time I get to wear these jerseys.
It might
just
be.
had something on the top of your head before we started this episode.
Well, I was going to say I wanted to retire the jersey because I don't know how long, NFL trade deadline is coming up. I don't know how long this jersey, so this might be it. This might be the last one, okay? But it's the beginning of the season.
Oh, snap. We got the reveal.
Game's like there's a new sport starting up. He's already chalking it. He's already
in the
chalking
preseason,
it.
Baby. We've moved on.
But speaking of another sport that's in the postseason, talk about a little MLB playoffs. I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't watched any of it. I'm not a baseball guy. We could leave that to our resident baseball analyst, expert, connoisseur, sommelier, baseball guy, Jojo Gomez. Baseball god, my bad. The coach, manager.
My records back in high school.
Yeah.
Left bench, right bench, sometimes the middle.
I saw him try out for the Montgomery Wizards.
What is that?
Some random ass team.
All right, yo, honestly, man, right now, it's a nice little playoff race. I can say in the American League, teams I hate most against each other right now. So, honestly, I don't care who wins that damn series. You got the Boston Red Sox versus the Houston Astros. You got my main rival, Boston, beating on the Astros right now, in which I believe they had 3 grand slams in a span of 3 games. It has never been done in postseason, which that is ridiculous stat for any team. And I just hate the fact that it just happened to be Boston doing that right now. But the winner of that series, I personally don't care. Obviously, because I'm always rooting for the Yanks on that side. I want both teams to lose. If that was possible, it'd be the best for all of us. But then you have, on a National League side, interesting series there because you got the Atlanta Braves currently up 3-1 against LA. But we're literally in the same situation last year. Atlanta was up 3-1 against LA, and LA ended up coming back and then winning the World Series, obviously, since they won last year. So, ask you, Gabe, LA be panicking right now, being down 3-1, or should they just trust the process like they did last season and see where it goes? Clearly, since they won the World Series in this situation last year.
Yeah, I would say, coming into this playoffs, LA was definitely a top favorite at the beginning of the year. I don't know. It'd be kind of weird for the Braves to get in because I think they had a better team last year. But if they're playing well now, it's all about whoever's hot at the moment. I think LA is a better team. They have huge pitching. They have great players, big hitting, but they're just not showing up. So it would be crazy if LA didn't make the championship. I would love to see a Boston-LA matchup, but it seems like, Atlanta come away with it. Baseball is weird where you can get a hot streak, pick up a couple games, but you got to be panicking if you're an LA Dodger fan right now. Switching over to the ACLS, Jojo, I don't know if you want to talk about Boston. Coming into this playoffs, they scraped by New York. They were able to get into that wild card spot.
Yeah, man.
And they played Tampa, which is the champs, and Tampa was also a big team. So for the fact that, Boston was down, they were able to get to that wild card, beat the Yankees, who are really hot, beat Tampa Bay. I mean, they're on a hot streak right now, and I kind of expect them to come on into the playoffs. I'm not really a Houston fan. Could care less about the team. Those trash bag bangers, those trash whatever can bangers.
Oscar
but yeah,
the Grouch.
It seems pretty exciting.
It's insane. Like, again, like you said, Atlanta, they had a better team last year. They had better. We feel like they had a better shot last year, and they're in the same situation. They can potentially win the whole thing. It's crazy, right? They had a few injuries early on. I know Acuna was out. That took a blow to the team, but look, they're still right here. They're one game away from going to the World Series, and they need to secure. They need this last win, right? You can't give hope in LA because that team is way too dangerous right now. They got the pitching, they got the hitting, they have clutch fielding, they have it all. They have the base running. It's ridiculous. They need to shut it down this next game.
And I guess I would say, I don't know, Julian, if you want to talk about because baseball we have the series, so I think the series is a better determinant of like a better champion. Even though sometimes it can get close, it'd be 3-3, whatever. First to four wins in the series. But baseball is better at like figuring out a champion over time. Because in football, it's just like you win one game, that's it. You're hot that game. You don't have to be hot the whole season, but if you're hot this game, you can win on any Sunday.
You have to though.
And the Atlanta Braves are proven, and this is what I kind of like about baseball. Like you've seen everybody show up at the top. Everybody's on edge. They're showing up at the top. At peak performance because everybody's zoning and focusing on securing the series. So we'll see, man. If Atlanta goes in, I don't think I'm gonna be rooting for them. They're kind of the underdogs the whole way, but they earn their way, man. It's the first of 4 wins, so you get those 4 wins, that's it. You've earned your way. So we shall see.
I'll probably root for the Braves. I have a lot of Brave fans. I have a lot of friends who are Braves fans, so it'd be nice to see them win because they've been through so much shit. Like the Braves organization throughout like the past 30 years. It's like, you know what, man? They need a ring. Just give it to them. Let's go.
I think it's time. I don't want LA to win. They won last year, and they had like 4 World Series trips the last 5 years or whatever it is. They keep going back, and I was rooting for them last year to finally get one. Got it. Cool. I don't want to see them win it again. I definitely don't want to see Boston win another ring in this modern era, and I definitely don't want to see the Astros win. So I think we're all Braves fans at this point.
Yeah, because I was trying to find the crazy stat or something, but they went to like the World Series and like been in the playoffs like so many years in a row. 21 division titles in total. I don't remember. It was like from the 90s to like the early 2000s, and I just remember like, man, it's gotta suck to be a Braves fan. It's like, would you rather be like bad and know you not make it, or be good and always just be disappointed every single year and just be let down?
I mean, I think I want to be competitive, man. I want to be in the show, right? Because that's what you play 162 games for. You play to go to the playoffs. You play for a chance at the win. So, like, as long as I'm there consistently, like, always trying.
But you lose the World Series 4 years in a row, or like the Bills back in the 90s, they lost like the Super Bowl like 4 years in a row. Like, that sucks, man.
Okay, so let me ask a question like this: would I rather be some team that goes to the championship, or goes to the playoffs every year? Would I rather be the Marlins? I'd rather go to the playoffs every year. You know what I mean? I'd rather have something to watch. You know what I mean? Instead of hopelessly waiting for another season, and maybe they'll get it together next season. Maybe, but we'll see in April or whatever. Next year,
hope. Right? You have a little bit of hope.
Yeah, I mean, it always sucks because especially if you feel like you got a good team. But I'd rather be competitive every year. That's all you want. You just want
I agree with Gabe because at least you got to think regular season too. Like if your team is trash, bro, you're just gonna be miserable all season. Like you already know you're not going anywhere. You can't even enjoy a regular season game because you're so bad. You're not gonna get any wins on the board. Like I'd rather be a good team, be competitive playoffs, whether you win or not. You personally, as a fan, you had a great season. You seen the team win. You had great energy. You loved it. Hey, only one team has to win at the end of the day. It might not always be your team, but at least you had a great season, right? Nobody wants to be a miserable fan. Jacksonville, and be sad every single game when they lose.
Yeah. But, and especially football's a little different because you only have 16 games, so it's pretty much like a playoff run. 16 games, or 17 games now. But in baseball, man, if you're like like a team like the Marlins, you're like, okay, they got to come out the All-Star break, and maybe if they string together 10, 12 games, maybe they'll be in the hunt for the wild card, maybe. And then they start losing, and like, okay, it's like 10 games in, they're already out of it. So it's like, fuck, we got like 50 more games. Like 40 more games left to go. So,
it's more of a grind.
Yeah.
That's literally how
Those kind of guys.
with the Yankees, I was counting every single game post All-Star break. We knew we had to win out of 3 every series. So when we dropped this series, and I know even we had 30 games left, we dropped that one series, I'm already here crying and stressed out like, oh, we needed that series. Meanwhile, there's 35 games left in the season. We're complaining about these 2 games that we lost.
I think anticipation has to play a part with it, because I do think you do, like, specifically in like football, because it's just you wait once a week. I feel like a little bit more, like, even though if you're bad, there's still like that hope and anticipation, like, and I think also too the culture probably plays a factor, like tailgating and like other stuff and like hanging out or even just watching other shit probably plays a factor too. But I think that's a little bit of.
Think if you're one,
well, go, Gabe.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, to be a guy on one of these teams that like suck is like, yo, you're already like, if you're out of the hunt, you're not, coming out All-Star break and you're not in the hunt for a playoff spot. Like, you're already thinking like, if I'm a player, I'm like, yo, when can we get this shit over with so I can go on vacation and go to fucking whatever, Dubai, do some shit with my family. Like, I'm tired of this road shit. I'm tired of losing. Like, it sucks. It's like
I think baseball's got to. I was going to say,
fan base is weak. You got nobody showing up to the games. It's not even excited for you to play anymore.
I was going to say, because baseball's got to be rough. Because, you got like 40 more games to play, but you're already like virtually out. And then it's like so much travel and playing. And it's like, we're already done with this. It's like, that I didn't even think about that part of it. I was same thing in basketball too. But yeah, that's enough baseball talk. So, Gabe, I want to start out by I want to write a letter. A letter of appreciation on behalf of Duval County, the Jacksonville Jaguar fan base, all of Northeast Florida, Southeast Georgia. We want to thank you, a Dolphin, and all the other Dolphins, as well as the Miami Dolphins organization, for doing us this favor of finally letting us snap our 20-game losing streak and finally get a win on the board. Couldn't be any sweeter than against Gabe's Miami Dolphins in London in front of everybody watching in the morning, Sunday morning. I just want to thank you, Gabe. Thank you and all the other Dolphin fans out there who all doubted us. Say that we're joking and like you're kidding me, right? Like,
did a great service. We're here. County.
You'll be put down in memory books, giving Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer's first win in the history books, bro. In the history. Oh, Gabe cut out. His internet couldn't handle it. His internet couldn't handle it.
Gabe couldn't handle it.
Yeah. Is Urban Meyer going to finish the season?
Amazing.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
I resonated with that. Julian.
Thank you.
You guys finally got a win on the board. Must feel good. So, Julian, when's the parade?
Tomorrow. It's a bye week, so we're you
guys are gonna celebrate.
Dude, it's so funny because like I'm seeing all over like Jags Twitter, everybody just like, you know what? I'm not even gonna make our critiques about the game because there definitely was some. And it's like, I'm just gonna enjoy this shit. Cause it's been over a fucking year. It's like I'm just gonna enjoy it, bro. Like just soak it in. Like you got 2 weeks of happiness. 2 weeks of happiness. Another week.
See that one on the board.
You got one on the board.
See that one.
He's starting to sound like a Knicks fan. This is hashtag Knicks state, man. This is Jaguar state.
The difference between
or Jacksonville fans.
The difference between the Knicks fans is they always think they're in the hunt. I know we're not.
Hold on, real quick, not to deviate from the topic. Knicks started off the season with that crazy game in St. Boston. Literally with this energy, they're 1-0. You know what they're saying? They're undefeated right now. Undefeated.
I'm not saying all that. We're all just happy to win. We're all happy to get a W on the board, get that offer back. And you know what? Hey, Gabe, the East Coast of Florida, you know what color it is? It's teal. It's teal. That's that whole East Coast, the whole Atlantic is teal for until next time.
Damn.
They can keep the red in Central and the Gulf Coast. They keep that red over there.
But in head-to-head matchups so far this season, Broncos demolished your Jacksonville Jaguars. Then your Jacksonville Jaguars beat Gabe's Dolphins. Looking good for you, Gabe.
Listen, man, I don't know what's going on. This is a terrible start to the season, especially coming off a 10-6 where you guys were, Dolphins were in the hunt for the playoff spot. So this is a terrible start. Already hearing inklings of Stephen Ross, the owner, is trying to trade Tua for I can't think of his name.
Deshaun Watson.
And I think this is hitting the panic button. Maybe, okay, you get a little heat because, you go on the road, you go to London, and you lose to the Jaguars, who lost to the freaking Texans. So this is like kind of their worst performance. But I think if you're thinking about, in the context of Tua, I mean, Tua didn't play bad. Like, Tua outperformed, or played at least on par with Trevor Lawrence that day. So I don't think this is a terrible decision. Try to trade Tua in the middle of maybe it's a bad start, but I don't see why you would trade him. I mean, it is a fantastic performance, but he did play well that game. This is probably his best game that he's played so far, like that he's been able to play, coming back from injury. So
what do you think is next game?
I think the trade is going to happen. I was watching Twitter yesterday. I was watching Twitter yesterday, and Dolphins Twitter noticed that they took off on the depth chart on the Dolphins website. They took off Tua off the depth chart. He was still on the roster list of names on the depth chart. Brissett was number one. And then when Dolphins Twitter was doing that, they switched it back. The website magically updated, and Tua's name was back there. So I think this is happening. Like I said, the deadline is November 2nd, I think, and I think it's going to happen. And I think this is, and early 2020, this would make sense. Like, this would be like, okay, that's fair. But like now, this is such a bad decision. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the future is with Deshaun Watson. I don't know what's going to happen.
Is the season all but over? The season all but over?
I don't think the season's all but over. We have 10 more games. Who knows? Maybe we go on a 10-game streak.
1-6, 1-5, 1-5.
Man,
yeah. It's gonna be rough. I'd just be happy with
like 8. Give me an 8-8. Give me an 8-9, 9-8, something like that. Give me 500.
My thing with Tua, man, and I've been saying it since the jump. He is decent, but he is just not as talented as all those other guys out there, man. And I'll keep on saying, I know I've gotten so much shit from all these other Dolphin fans down here in Miami because that's where we are. And it's like, I'm telling you, man, it's like, to me, it was evident just watching the game, watching like every single play, every single snap. I was like, you look at Trevor Lawrence and you look at Tua, there's a clear talent difference. Obviously, Tua probably played a cleaner game. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about like playing cleaner games and like playing well. But like, if you just look at the sheer talent and like what somebody's capable of, I mean, to me, like just watching that game, it was so evident. Seeing the throws that Trevor Lawrence could make compared to like what Tua was making, which Tua, I think he could be a good quarterback. He'd be decent. I don't ever think, to me, his peak is like at the very end of a top 10. Like, I don't think he's ever going to be a top 5 guy, to me personally. I think at his peak, he's a Ryan Tannehill at Tennessee. That's how I always look at him. He showed, like you said, this game, he had a good game. I don't think he's the issue with what's wrong with the team. It seems like, I don't, Gabe, I don't know what you think of it because you watch them more closely. I'm not entirely sure what's necessarily wrong, the game plan or the mistakes and the errors, because the team is still Miami's still pretty talented team. They're definitely the more talented team in London than the Jags. They just couldn't piece it together. And I'm not sure if you know anything just by staring at it that stands out to you of like what could be wrong.
Yeah, I think one of the big problems last year was he was holding on to the ball too long. He was,
but not even just Tua, just the team as a whole, because you went from 10-6 to now being 1-5 to start the season.
That O-line is terrible.
But yeah, I mean,
I said it a couple of weeks ago that we can't even assess. I can't even assess if Tua is good or not because he doesn't even have time to time to throw the ball. You don't even give him good looks. So the O-line is terrible. As far as defensively, I think the defense is probably their better half of ball. And they don't throw the ball deep. Like I think they don't go past like 20 yards when they throw. They're doing these small slants, these little bubble
probably because he
screens
can't
to
do
water.
it. To me, like that. To me, that speaks volumes because it's coming on.
Yeah.
Granted, he didn't play the whole season last year, and he's played besides him being injured. To me, the fact that they still not letting it sling it, like that's to me that speaks volumes because that means after this much time and these many games he's played and he's still not throwing it, like that shows that maybe he can't. Like maybe he's just not super accurate in that deep ball. Maybe he just doesn't have the strength to zip it down. Like because it's like you said, it's a whole different coordinator, so you can't blame the coordinator this time around unless he's doing the same shit that Chan Gailey was doing. But like, I mean, two different coordinators and they're still not letting him sling it. To me, that speaks a lot. Like that says a lot to me. And it's like maybe he can't. Maybe he is just a check down Charlie, like a Alex Smith or Garoppolo or something.
And this year they did, I believe they did bring in a quarterback coach to help. They added a new personnel, a quarterback coach to help with that. But yeah, that's one of the things, man. With him, it's got to come out. It's got to pop off the screen. Like, okay, this guy is a first round draft pick. Whatever, top 12, whatever pick it was. And it isn't. He's not dangerous. He's not like a. These guys in late situations like, if the Packers are down, a touchdown, and they got the leg of the field to go, I have trust. I've seen Aaron Rodgers perform, and I've seen him throw it, and I've seen him carry the downfield. Late in games, if the freaking Derek Carr is down, the Raiders are down, I've seen him sling. I've seen him. He can. Baker Mayfield, I've seen him sling it down. Fucking Justin Herbert, I've seen him sling it down. I've seen this guy was like, they might be down. They might have a long way to go, 3rd and 9. They might have a deep ball, but I was like, I could, I have faith that he's going to find a way to do that. And I just I don't feel that with the Dolphins. I don't feel that with Tua right now. Not to say he's a bad player. I think he's put in the work. They say he gained more mass. He's gotten stronger.
But they have to give him the opportunity. If they're not giving the play call or even attempt to do that, bro, then you're never gonna know what you really have. Because even guys like young guys, Mac Jones. I don't know if you saw that Dallas game.
I mean, he's kind of the same way though. Granted, he's played like 6 games,
and then he threw a 75-yard touchdown to play after. You know what I mean? They gave him a shot to go down the field. Would they do that with Tua?
No. Maybe he can't do it. I mean, that's the thing. Maybe
exactly. Yeah, but you got to give the play call. At least see it in the game, real time. Like
do you think that they were holding on like during that tank for Tua time? Like, do you think like they were just holding on to that much? Like, we just lost this whole season to get this guy. Like, maybe we should get him. And they just like completely discarded getting Herbert, or like, do you think they bought into that, and they just like, even though they probably felt that Herbert was the better guy, that they're just like, like this guy's the highest recruited player. It's like, or were you even sold on that pick, or did you want Herbert or something?
So here's the thing. I think they were thinking Tua all along, because if you remember, they had the number 6 pick, I think, that they traded away.
I think they were sold on the whole time. But like, do you think that maybe that got caught up in the whole tanking for Tua thing, that they just forced the pick, even though he probably shouldn't have been picked that high? Not his own fault, but like,
you say tank. Brian Flores don't tank. That was proven in the game when they played.
Yeah, they don't tank.
We're both playing for last place. They don't tank. Maybe organization, but they don't tank. So I reject that idea. But I think they were sold up to the whole time. I think that they thought that, because they could have had a number 6 pick. You could pick Tua at number 6. You didn't have to give away, unless they made an educated guess that yes, that we can give away this 6 pick and give go whatever, drop down to 12 or 13.
Because I think Chargers are pretty confident that the Dolphins were taking Tua, and that's why they didn't move up. I think they're pretty sold that Dolphins are taking him. And they
listen, if they wanted Herbert, they could have got him at number 6. So I think they were sold on Tua all along. I thought they thought he was going to drop because he was coming off of whatever that surgery, the hip surgery, and I still think in all of this, Tua hasn't got a full evaluation. Right?
Same. I agree.
He had like a half season last year. He has a little slow start to this season. I still haven't seen his full thing, but that's the crazy thing. Like, this deadline's coming down. It's already September 21st. Like the deadline's November 2nd. So we only got a couple weeks for them to make these changes. I think they're going to do it, which I think would be absolutely terrible. I mean, it would be good from a football standpoint. I think Deshaun Watson is, proved himself. I think he's excited.
But then you got to think what the organization wants, right? Are they at the point where they just want to win now? Like, yeah, you could evaluate Tua, give some time, but they're not in that mindset to wait and be patient.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna make a move, and hopefully another team will develop him. And kudos to them.
I will say too, like, I wouldn't necessarily say it's his fault. Like, it's not like he's throwing pick sixes and just like losing the game for the team. I mean, granted, he's not like scoring like crazy, but there's other issues that I don't know what exactly. I mean, obviously you have the O-line. I don't think the running game is strong at all. Myles Gaskin is a number 2, number 3 running back at most other teams. He's not that good of a player. Yeah. He's like everybody was hyping him up coming in like fantasy coming against the Jags, but I'm like, Myles Gaskin does not scare me at all. Like I said, he's a number 2, number 3 running back on any other team. So I think maybe a solid running game would really help with a better O-line play. I will say, I don't know if this has been a reoccurring theme for the Dolphins the rest of the season, but I did know in that Jag game, I did see a lot of inconsistencies with the defense. It's like one moment they couldn't they had like the beginning of the first half, they stringed together like 3 punts, and then after that, they just kind of like fell apart. And I know like in a couple of games it was like that where it was close and the defense couldn't hold the team together and the game just kind of got away from them. But I don't know. But I do want to switch to the other team that was on that game. I want to say if this is the turning point for the Jaguars and what this win can mean, I'm going to go off first. I'm going to say that I really think this was a turning point for us. I'm not saying that we're going to win the AFC South or anything like that, but I do think every single game that has been played this season for the Jaguars has gotten progressively better and better. There hasn't been a single regress in the entire season so far. Every single game got better and better. Trevor Lawrence has looked better and better every single game. And we've been very competitive every game except the very first game against Houston. Every other game we've been very competitive in, and just a couple of bad coaching mistakes and coaching play calling, which I still have issues with because realistically, like we made that Dolphins game way harder than it should have. There was a lot of just super dumb mistakes and play calling that just pisses me off and misassignments that just frustrate me. But we're there, and I know like there's a bye week this week, and I think next week the Jags play the Seahawks, and I actually feel pretty confident about that game that they can win because the Seahawks do not at the moment with Geno Smith, they don't scare me. I think with James Robinson,
haven't been looking good, man.
They haven't. This is really showing how much Russell Wilson carries that team. Russell Wilson and McAfee.
Going back to the Jags, because these are the games you guys got to capitalize on. To the games. These situations, because Lockett has been having a down year so far. I think he's been kind of injury prone and stuff because I have him on fantasy, so I've been noticing it. Metcalf, he's been playing well. That running back, actually, I forgot his name. He played Carson? Pretty well. Not Carson, the guy who played against Pittsburgh. He had dreads. I think it's 41.
I know they had a couple injuries. Well. I know they on the running back position, so they had to put in a new guy. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but.
And their defense is not that great. Offensive line is not that good. Like I said, I mean, obviously a good quarterback hides a lot of issues. And I think that's a very winnable game for the Jags. If Geno's in there playing, I think that's...
They're on the road, so that's a tough building to go into Seattle. I mean, is
it to Seattle?
It's at Seattle. So they're going to the West Coast.
Should at least be competitive at the very least. Like I said, there hasn't been a single game when they haven't been competitive, and it's just as long. To me, the most glaring issues it's so evident is in the OC and in some moments the defensive coordinator. It's just terrible play calling because obviously talent is an issue on the team, but there's moments where I see it and it's more than just talent. It's not the talent. It's there's fundamental issues with the way that they're managing the game and play calling and certain things. Like there was a beautiful drive. I don't know if you remember, Gabe. It was right when they strip sacked Lawrence in the red zone and Dolphins got the ball back. But they had a beautiful drive of running James Robinson, running it, and then play action. Throws it 20 yards down the field, then run it, play action, run it, and then a boot, and he runs for like, then Trevor Lawrence runs for like 15 yards. And that's so great. And it's awesome. That's what everybody's been wanting to run James Robinson because this guy is unreal. He's a top 5 running back in the league. He's established himself as one of the best in the league. He's been super consistent. He's 4th in the league in rushing, and he hasn't even touched over 20 carries a game, which is blows my mind. How you have this such a good running back and with a rookie quarterback, and he's not even getting 20 touches a game. It's like, give this guy 25 to 30 touches a game. Like, this guy's unreal. He's a beast. And you see them run it all the way down the field, but then the very next drive, they don't even run the ball once. They throw it all 3 times to get 3 and out, and that shit drives me insane. And then the dumb 4th and 1 calls by both the Dolphins and the Jags, where they both went for it on 4th and 1. That I wasn't so much upset at the 4th and 1 call, so more upset at the 3rd down call. But yeah, it's dumb mistakes. But I do think every game the play calling is getting better, things are getting better, and I think by the end of the season they could rattle off 6 to 7 wins. And if Trevor Lawrence keeps on playing like he's playing, because he's playing unreal, to me he's the best quarterback. He's been showing to be the best quarterback in the best rookie quarterback in the league right now. And I'm not even being a homer. Like, Mac Jones looks great, but he doesn't to me, he doesn't stand out nearly as much as like Trevor does. Yeah, he has the mistakes, but like the evidence and like the way he's playing is better than Mac Jones. Mac Jones is playing safe most of the time. But I think they could push her. I think he definitely pushed for rookie of the year though, for sure.
Yeah, and going forward with the Jags, just looking at the schedule, I mean, they still do have tough teams they got to play.
It's going to be a tough stretch. Yeah, they have like a tough stretch, and then it gets easy again.
They play the Bills, 49ers, they play the Rams at LA.
Yeah, that's a stretch. Right?
Yeah. I think y'all should be happy if you can get split whatever games are coming out of this bye week. If you can just split it or get close to 500, I think that would be pretty. Yeah. That won't be maybe the season we thought at the beginning of the year, but it'll be decent. I would consider that a decent season.
Like, I don't care too much about wins this season because I mean we're not going to make the playoffs. It's evident, but I want to be competitive. I want to be competitive. If you go in against the Bills and you're competitive and don't get blown out, I'm okay with that. If you go in, I think you could possibly rattle off a win against the 49ers. It'd be an upset. I don't think it happens, but I think out of that entire stretch, maybe the Niners, because who knows? Well, you're losing against the Rams. I think they might lose all those games. You could probably beat the Seahawks. But if you were to take anybody in that entire tough stretch, maybe the Niners, and even then that's kind of pushing it. But then after that, they play like the Falcons, the Jets, the Patriots towards the end of the season. You play Houston again. Like, you can win those games. Those are all winnable games. And I think you could beat the Colts and the Titans. I don't think they're that scary of a team to me.
I think if you guys keep it close and competitive, like you said, against these tougher teams, that would give you, the confidence in going against these weaker teams and actually getting these wins, depending on how you perform against these big name teams.
I think to just let Trevor progress, let him learn, because it's all about next year. Next year, you're getting a shit ton of cap money, and they're going to start. I guarantee you, they're going to blow a shit ton of money in free agency and hit the draft hard, just like the Patriots did this past offseason. I think this is the year to develop him, let him learn, get the traits going, and then next year you go all out. You get all his weapons, you beef up the defense, you draft more weapons and offensive linemen, and then you go for it next year and push for that division title. This year, not too worried about it. Get your wins for morale. But as long as I'm seeing better competitive games and it looks like we can actually like compete, that's all I'm hoping for.
If you win one more game this season, you're already a better team than last season.
Yeah. It's sad to say, think we can go 1-15, and I think we're a better team. We can go 1-15, and I still think we're a better team.
And they play the Jets, so you know they're going to get that
rookie quarterback, and you get 2 wins this season. Guys, Tank, you got the number 1 pick. You got 2 wins this whole season. Is this a win season?
It depends. Like it really. I wouldn't want 2 wins. Like I said, I think 5. I'll be stoked if we get 6. Like, but
For the Stars.
I would say 2 is kind of pushing it. It's like, man, it's kind of rough. I do think for Trevor Lawrence to win Rookie of the Year, he has to at least get 5 or 6 wins. I think he has to, because right now I think he's third in the chances for the Vegas odds. It's number 1 is Jamar Chase, which he's been balling. Number 2 is Mac Jones, and number 3 is Trevor Lawrence. But I think if Trevor continues to play like how he's playing and they win some more games, I think to me he's the easy one. It's going to be hit between him and Chase, because Mac Jones is good, he's solid, but I mean he's also a rookie. I'll give him time, but he hasn't like wowed me. He's not like wowing me. I'm not like, oh, he looks like shit, but he's not like anything insane either.
I want to get into Week 7 action because today is Thursday, and the Browns will be at home facing the Denver Broncos. So I want JoJo to talk about his team. Talk about his team they're doing so far. They're 3-3 right now, and they're about to play the Browns. So how do you feel about your Denver Broncos going into this game?
I feel very confident going into today's game. We started off the season 3-0. Even I know, as a Broncos fan, those wins didn't mean anything, right? It didn't prove anything, but those are wins that those are guaranteed, right? Like you need them. You need to win them, right? We had the Giants, you had the Jets, and of course we had the Jags. That was the 3 right there.
You got the 3 easy one.
That's 3.
Now, right? You're expected to win those games, and we did win those games, which is good, right? Because if we ended up losing to any one of those teams, that could have changed like the entire season. We got a little tough stretch. The real test was facing Baltimore. We know how real they are. We know what Lamar Jackson's doing, which is ridiculous, right? So I'll take that L. Then going in against the Steelers, I was actually a little disappointed. But we did have Bridgewater out. He was injured. We had a couple more injuries. We dropped that game. And then we also dropped last week's game, which I was disappointed as well. Oh, going against the Browns, they have an injury-riddled team going on right now. You got their star quarterback out. They got receivers out. They got everyone out as well. So we're pretty much evenly matched at this point. They do have the upper hand on being at home, the Browns. I definitely think we can be competitive today, and we can actually get the dub, man. Like, I feel like for us, this is a must-win currently in this season. In terms of morale, we dropped the last 3. Hey, we're going on the road. We're facing the Browns. They haven't been very competitive this season either. So this is a must-win for us.
Yeah, Browns have struggled against good teams. They're a good team themselves, but it's like who they lost to the Chiefs. They just lost to Arizona. Then who was their second? Who was their second loss to? Did they lose to Baltimore? Who did they lose to? No, it doesn't matter. But yeah, they're one of those where it's like obviously they beat up on bad teams, and when they play somebody good, they're in the fight. They're there and they're not lose, but they just can't close. They just can't close.
They have,
even though they got beat up pretty bad against Arizona. Arizona kind of put a beating on them. But it's going to be an interesting game. I am really curious because Denver's not a scrub, but they're not necessarily a top tier team either. So I'm curious to see how they compete.
We're playing in the middle right now. We beat the teams we needed to beat. We still haven't proven ourselves. And tonight's the night to do that. It's not against a super high-ranked team, just another competitive team, just like us.
Yeah, and especially I'm curious to see if Teddy plays because it's just a lot of injuries for both teams, really. But you're at Cleveland, okay. It's gonna be an interesting game. I think it's gonna be a pretty good game because honestly, the line right now is -1.5.
They get it close.
For Cleveland, and that's pretty much his home advantage is what they're giving them.
Yeah.
They lost to the Chargers. That's who they lost to. So they lost to the Chargers, Cardinals, and who did I just say? Why am I? Chiefs. So and they're all really close. All really close games. I remember watching that Chargers Browns game. That was a really close game. That came down to right at the end. Same thing with the Chiefs game. The only game that they clear cut got lost pretty bad too was Arizona, which we can actually get into Arizona and talk about, do we think this was actually JoJo's pick coming into for division winner coming into the season, and they were projected to be the fourth worst team in NFC West, which is, I mean, a very stacked division, but they were coming in with the highest odds to win the whole thing. But it looks like they might, and they're 6-0 right now. I believe they're the only undefeated team.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So they are looking lights out. We didn't have a show last week, but last week Zach Ertz got picked up, got traded to Arizona. So they're going all in right now this season. Arizona has made a lot of moves. They continue to make moves, already bringing in JJ Watt. They brought in the traded for Ertz. You brought in AJ Green. And they're really supplementing the team very well. They drafted Rondale Moore, adding a lot of weapons to that team, and the defense is getting better and better. So they're looking really dynamic, super dynamic on both sides of the ball, especially on the offensive side. Kyler Murray seemed to be way more consistent than he has been in the past 2 years.
Right now,
the dude's a Madden character. He's playing unreal football.
His mind, and then let's see how consistent he can be, man. He's up there right now performing just like Lamar Jackson.
Bro, I mean, and the weapons he has is just insane. I mean, you have DeAndre Hopkins, probably the best receiver in the game, which he put off a nasty move to score a touchdown last week. But the guy didn't even touch him. You have Kirk, who's coming on to be a really solid, like, number 2, number 3 receiver. AJ Green seems to be having like a coming back to life moment. And then you have the rookie Rondale Moore, who's been a dynamic playmaker for them. Chase Edmonds has been playing pretty well for them. So they're really good. Chandler Jones on the defense side of the ball, he's been the sack machine. JJ Watt's been seeming like he's coming back. He's obviously not who he was, but he's been playing pretty solid. But yeah, man, that team is good. That team is really good. They're scary. And when it became for real for the Cardinals is when they beat the Rams. When they beat the Rams, because the Rams are my favorite to win the division and probably to win that whole NFC. But when they came in there and beat them, I was like, they're for real. They're for real right now.
Yeah.
Like,
I've been saying it. I'm going to say it again. Kyler Murray is Russell Wilson 2.0. They similar in body, but I think Kyler Murray is a little bit smaller. Kyler Murray is a bit smaller because I heard, they were talking about how he's not as stocky as Russell Wilson, but
I would say Russell Wilson has a better deep ball, though. Russell Wilson is dead accurate on that deep ball. He's probably the best deep ball thrower in the game.
And Russell Wilson is more slippery, I guess, in the pocket. Like, he can slip around.
But Kyler Murray is a lightning bolt. That guy fucking flies. That guy's so fast.
But I guess the thing coming out with him was he was just too short. You can't see passing lanes if you're 5'2", and you're behind a lineman at 6'3", 6'5", or whatever. That was his only thing, but he had all all the things everything else. He's great scrambling, great rolling out, and he just plays well. So he's on fire. I'm very happy on this team. I'm glad that they rejuvenated fucking AJ Green, who got hurt and he's been kind of down. AJ Green as a rookie or second year had really good years, but then he's kind of like disappeared.
No, he was good for like 5 or 6 years. He was good for a lot of years, but remember he had Andy Dalton thrown to him in an organization that's run terribly.
So they revived him, and that's great because they have a great receiving team, and they're playing on point. So, and they got a tough schedule. They got right now I think they're on the bye week, and they come back and they play the Packers at home. But they play 49ers. They got to play LA again. So there's some tough games in there, and but I think they'll be at the top of their division.
The fact too is like they didn't get an easy. I'm looking at the schedule now. They did not get an easy 6-0, and they're beating good teams. I mean, they beat the Jags, but like I said, that game was actually closer than I anticipated. They did beat up on the Cardinals week 1. The Vikings game was dead close. The Rams game, they won by 17. They beat the Niners, and then they beat the Browns. So they beat really good. You beat playoff teams. you beat playoffs teams. And even though the Vikings were in a playoff team, I think they could be pushing for a playoff. They're a lot better team than what their record shows. But then, you go in and then you gotta lay up against Houston the next week. But then, you got the Packers, Niners, Panthers, Seahawks, Bears, Rams. You got a lot of good defenses. And then you don't really get a break. They get a break kind of at the end of the season. You got Lions and the Colts, which the Colts are just whatever. Cowboys, will see what they are by then. And then they end it with the Seahawks again. So they're one hell of a good team.
I'm high on Arizona. I'm up on Arizona. I'm high on Arizona. So do you want to go through the rest of do you have the lines? You want me to write down some of the lines?
Did you have who won the previous week? I'm not sure if you have it on hand.
I have it here. I gotta calculate it. I have it saved, but I gotta.
We'll do it later. We'll run through these. We'll run through these and we'll call it a show. So week 1 tonight, Denver Broncos at Cleveland Browns, -1.5. Browns is the favorite.
Already know. I'm
gonna go against JoJo. I think I'm gonna take the Browns. Wait, you said Baker's not playing?
Who?
You said Baker's not playing?
He's out. It says he's out.
It depends if Bridgewater plays. Shit. Even so, I do like if is Drew Lock's the backup, right? So even if Teddy doesn't play, I think I do probably like Drew Lock more than whoever Cleveland's backup is. So it's gonna be
out Thursday versus Broncos with shoulder injury.
This is gonna be a shit game. Honestly, this is gonna be a really defensive run game. They have no Chubb either. Cleveland has no Chubb. I'll go Denver +1 then, 1.5. Because I like Drew Lock more than who's gonna be the backup for Cleveland. I'll go with that though.
I'm gonna go Denver too. I think if they can steal a game from Cleveland, this will be the game. So this will be the best chance when they're hurt down and out. What's the next game?
All right, and JoJo's got the Browns too. Okay. The Broncos. All right, next game. Cincinnati at Baltimore. They have Baltimore as -6.5 as the favorites. Bengals +6.5 as the dog.
Burrow ain't going into Baltimore going to whip up on no Lamar Jackson the way he's playing right now.
Not Cleveland. Cincinnati's been playing pretty well, man. I've actually been really impressed by them. I'm not calling it upset, but I don't think Baltimore covers. I think Cleveland's better than people give them credit. I think Jamar Chase and Burrow have been like fucking tied to the hip, bro. They've been making that LSU connection is something real. So I think Ravens win, but they don't cover their ass, and it's
the Bengals record right now.
They are 4-2, I believe.
They got I'm like. They had a couple wins on the board this season, but damn, 4-2.
Yeah, they're playing pretty well, man. They're second in the AFC. Yes, they're 4-2. Ravens are 4-1, 5-1.
I got Baltimore.
Baltimore with 6.5. JoJo, who'd you pick?
What?
I'm going Baltimore.
Baltimore. You guys got Baltimore covering. Okay.
Sure.
I got Lamar Jackson in my fantasy, so stay clear.
I got, all right, in the next game, Carolina at New York Giants. Carolina is -3 as the favorites at New York. I am going Carolina -3 to cover. Sam Darnold going back to NYC or Jersey. The New Jersey Giants.
Revenge tour again?
Even though they're not going to, Jets fans aren't going to be there.
I haven't seen any Giants games, but I have no faith in them. I think they only have one win this year.
I think Carolina bounces back. Carolina, they got on a 3 games skid. They went 3-0, and then I think they're 3-3 now.
I'm going Carolina. I'll go Carolina.
Carolina.
Funny because I always wondered, I'm like, we spoke a lot about them in the beginning of the season. These last few weeks, we haven't said anything about Carolina because they haven't losing.
They had a
been a little quiet.
Well, they had a tough loss. They just lost in overtime against the Vikings. Man, Vikings have been like playing some tight games. Like every time I turn on a Vikings game, they're like, it's a field goal. It's like a field goal game to win it.
I'm going to have to go against the grain on this one at home. I'm going to give the Giants their second win of the season. It's a team that's lost 3 in a row. This is a perfect opportunity for them to secure another win. And they better not disappoint, man, because they're known for disappointing every time I bet on them. But I'm going to go Giants on this one.
All right. You said you had Carolina, Gabe?
Yeah.
All right. So next, we got Washington at Green Bay. Green Bay is -7.5 favorites. I'm going to go Green Bay at home to cover their spread.
Like Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his mind right now. Not just him, the entire team.
Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams been playing insane, dude.
Yeah, I think this is probably the game to watch. I think this is a 1:00 game, so I'm gonna go Green Bay as well. But I'll be watching this game.
And I'm surprised Julian made this decision so easy, because whenever you hear Washington football team, he's always like, "Oh, I don't know, man. They keep it close. They
usually
close."
Washington's a quarterback. They're a quarterback away from being a playoff team. They're Heineke, I think, is just not it. If this was at home, I think they would cover. If it was at Washington, I think they might cover.
You literally gave Heineke so much praise last week or last.
He played well, man. I mean, he's not consistent. He's obviously not Aaron Rodgers, so it's a little different. And when I'm saying close, usually those games are like they're playing like the Giants or some like they're winnable games. But yeah, I think Green Bay covers the spread, especially at Lambeau. All right, so we all got Green Bay. This is a tricky one. All right. Kansas City Chiefs at Tennessee Titans. Kansas City Chiefs are -4.5 as the favorite.
Honestly, I wouldn't even know at this point. I don't know where the Chiefs stand.
I don't know, dude. Like
where we all thought they were. They got exposed. They're losing games left and right.
And not even I was gonna say not even the Chiefs, but the fucking Titans. They're so up and down. It's like one moment they look amazing, the next they lose to the Jets, and then it's like, but then they beat the Bills, and it's like I don't fucking know what the Titans do. That's why. But you're at Tennessee. That's such a tough call. And like you said, Kansas City's been like, have they been figured out? Like.
I'm gonna stick with KC on this. I think they win by a touchdown, 6 or 7 points. I'm gonna stick with KC, even though this is a tough game. This is also an exciting game for the week. This is probably the only 2 games: the Washington game, Washington Green Bay, and Kansas City Chiefs. Titans. I'm gonna go with Kansas City.
I think what's really killing me is the Titans, because like what's throwing me off is that they beat fucking the Bills. And that's like, but then you lose. But then you lose to the. No, they lost the Bills last week. This Monday night.
You said they beat the Bills.
Yeah, Monday night. This past Monday night.
You just beat them.
Yeah, this Monday. They got
lose to the first game.
They lost to the Steelers. They lost to the Steelers.
They fumbled on 4-1. Josh Allen fumbled on 4-1, and they didn't get that first down.
But then the Bills beat Kansas City, so it's like, I think I'm gonna go. I think they've been up and down. I'm gonna go Kansas City cover. I think Kansas City covers 4.5.
Kansas City cover.
I was gonna say the same. I
just don't trust the Titans. They're too inconsistent.
We still know that Kansas City is definitely a threat for who they play. We know they lost some games, but they still have a stacked team, and they just need to figure some things out.
It's Vrabel at Tennessee, man. He just finds a way to win. I don't know what it is. It's just like they just find a way to win, because they don't scare me, but somehow they just keep on fucking winning games. All right, the shit bowl of the day. Wow, actually, Dolphins are playing. They're not getting a bye week. Okay, coming from London. Usually, you're supposed to get a bye week coming from London, but got Atlanta at Miami. Atlanta is -2.5.
No, I think the home team gets a bye game, right? Because Jags got a bye week this week. Maybe.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, we have Jags always usually at London. You always get a bye week. I'm just kind of surprised that the Dolphins aren't. But
what was the points?
-2.5 as Falcons as the favorites.
Falcons as a favorite. Wow.
I think I'll take the Falcons. I think Miami's broken.
Wow.
I think, and it's not like Miami's going to be a daunting place to play at. Anyways, the weather's going to be perfect.
It's not. And I was going to give Dolphins, bit of the doubt. playing at home. The Falcons. You guys literally got disappointed. The Jags last week.
35-0 loss against the Bills.
Jags.
Yo, and what's his Kyle Pitts is the fucking real deal. Man. Kyle Pitts has been balling.
You know what?
I am surprised. You guys
pissed me off. Putting it back on. Putting it back on, baby. This week is our week. We're coming back. Fuck Stephen Ross. We're coming back. Tua's going to perform this week. I'm going with the Dolphins, baby.
+2. Yeah, Kyle Pitts, man. That guy's been fucking balling for a rookie. He had a couple of really good games. All right, we got another game here. We got New York Jets at New England Patriots. New England Patriots are -7. All right, this to me. Okay. If it was any other team but the Jets, I'd be like the Patriots can't cover. But the Jets, man, God, they're bad.
I have to go New England. Mac Jones had a great game, toe-to-toe with Dallas last week. Almost won that game. I have to go Patriots.
I'll go Patriots. I don't trust them to cover, but it's the Jets, and you're at Foxborough.
Yeah, I think Mac Jones is playing pretty well, but what you call it? Bill Belichick likes to kick a lot of field goals because they haven't been scoring. But anytime the Jets lose, it makes me a happy Doll fan. So I'm going New England.
The line split too. They're both -110. So not the line, the odds. We got shit. All right, we got Detroit Lions at LA Rams. Jared Goff revenge tour.
Oh, Jared for the week. Rams.
LA.
Nothing to talk about.
You want to hear the? You want to hear the spread? Rams -15.5. That is that's got to be the biggest spread of the year. That's a.
I haven't heard it that high this whole season. Is Detroit that bad?
They're 0-6. They're bad.
They're always bad. They're always bad.
Jared Goff revenge tour, man. And he got the fucking maniac head coach that is Dan Campbell. So, man, but 15.5 is a shit ton.
What are the odds they show up on the red zone? What are those odds?
Listen,
wait, what would you say? What are the odds of what?
They don't care about any other win the rest of the season. They win this game. They're Super Bowl.
And then Matt Stafford beats his old team. All right, let me see the last few games for the. Let me see if at least the Lions have kept it close.
No, I think they lost overtime or like by field goal kick.
Well, they lost by the record-breaking field goal against the Ravens. So which that's the Ravens, and they're 5-1, and they took them to OT. So, where is the Lions? Let me see how they've been losing. They got blown out by the Bengals. They lost 19-17 against the Vikings. They lost 24-14 against the Bears. They lost in overtime against the Ravens. They got blown against the Packers. They kept it close with 49ers, and then the rest.
You think they're gonna keep it close with the Rams? You really think? Okay.
Not keep it close, but 15.5. That's 3 scores, man. Like that's a lot.
So you're gonna pick Detroit?
I'll take them to cover. I'll take them to cover. The odds are even. It's 110. It's 50-50. So I'll take Lions to cover. I'll take him covering. I think Jared Goff's gonna be upset. He's gonna be angry.
All right. What's the next game?
You guys both taking 15.5?
I'm taking hell yeah. I got Cooper Kupp and I got fucking Stafford on my team. So.
I'll take Lions and I'll be the contrarian. All right. Philadelphia at Las Vegas. Las Vegas is -3. I'll go Raiders at home.
That Raider game pissed me off last week against us. I didn't expect them to come out like that, especially, everything that's going on with the organization. They played really well.
They're still a good team. They're still playing well.
Yeah. I got the Raiders. I don't know much to talk about. I haven't seen.
I will give Eagles credits. Eagles have been playing better. They kind of put up a fight against Tampa. All right, we got Chicago Bears at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay is -12.5 at Tampa.
That's
I will take that because Bears can't put up points. I don't think the Bears can put
I'll
up
go
points.
Tampa too. I won't be watching that game. I'm going Tampa.
Joe, you took Tampa?
Sir.
All right, 12.5. All right. Shit, we thought the LA Rams game was a big ass spread. Wait till you hear this one. Houston Texans at the Arizona Cardinals.
Give me Arizona. That's an easy one. See what I'm saying?
Minus
revenge tour.
Minus 17.5.
Is this a JJ Watt revenge game? Is this what it is?
It's at Arizona, so he's not at Houston. 17.5. It's a lot of points. It's a big ass spread. That's a
right, because they know Arizona, man, is a threat. Offensive superpower.
Right now, the line is leaning towards Houston to cover for Arizona. It's minus 115 with Arizona's minus 105.
You brought up the Detroit Rams game was minus 15, so you said that was the biggest one. 17.5. That's a lot of points.
I'll take Houston to cover 17.5. Man, everybody's leaning. It's leaning towards that, anyways. Arizona wins, but the Houston covers.
Houston covers.
All right. I think this is a little closer than it should be. Indianapolis Colts at San Francisco 49ers. 49ers are minus 4.5. I will take the Niners at home. I think they win by a touchdown. Gabe?
Niners. You gotta go Colts. Or go against the grain.
Gabe's lost.
Or lose everybody their money. Gone.
Gabe's gone. He couldn't handle the pressure. All right. We'll go to the next one until he bounces back. All right. New Orleans Saints at Seattle. New Orleans is minus 4.5. Oh, Gabe, you're back. Who do you got, Gabe? Indianapolis or 49ers?
Oh, I got 49ers easy. That's easy.
4.5? Okay, cool. So New Orleans Saints at Seahawks. New Orleans Saints minus 4.5. I will take God, there's some difficult games to pick from.
You never know with Jameis Winston, man. Are you gonna get the 5 touchdown or the 5 interception Jameis Winston?
But then you're at the 12th man. You're at Seattle. So,
there's no Russell Wilson.
It's Russell Wilson.
Really a winnable game for anybody at this point.
How's New Orleans? How have they been? They're 3-2 right now. I haven't watched any New Orleans game. But then they got smoked by the Panthers. They smoked the Patriots. They lost to the Giants, and then they beat Washington. They had a bye week last week.
The most unpredictable team.
I think they come back. They come back. They cover. They come back and they cover. It's like they win one, lose one, win one, lose one. So but I think they break.
You don't trust Jameis Winston. I trust Seattle defense less. So.
Yeah. I think they break the up and down string. I think they break the up and down, and they get their first win streak. And that was Monday Night Football. So that is no more games for the week. That is all. Gabe, did you able to get the number on the thing? If not, don't worry about it.
I'll check it out later today. I'm gonna put this one in and then I'll check it out.
I guarantee you, I got another dub. Because that's what I do out here against the boys. So
Gabe will give us the info the next podcast from both.
Biggest game tonight. Everybody, for the real fans, y'all better watch. Broncos, stop this skid. We're gonna get on the board again. We're about to be 4-3. That's the game of the week in my eyes. Starting it off right. Let's get it.
All
right. So that's it for the podcast. We appreciate y'all coming out, checking this out again. We'll be back next week. We'll probably talk more baseball, talk about basketball season, how we feel about our teams. We'll talk about football, how the Denver Broncos lost. We'll probably talk some UFC when it comes up in the next couple of weeks.
Bunch of big fights coming up.
So we'll probably talk more about that. Appreciate y'all checking us out. Real Fans Podcast on all things: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Yellow Book,
Yellow Pages,
Walmart.com, BestBuy.com, Real Fans Podcast. Appreciate y'all checking us out.
All right.
Pro Shop.
Peace.